Folks, welcome into the Crossing Swords postgame report. I'm your host, Ty B. Sabers got a big 5-3 victory at New Jersey tonight. Big game out of Rasmus Dahlin and Casey Middlestat. I'm joined by Joe Conzi and Dwayne to talk about this one. But first, we got to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Amherst Ale House. Make sure you get there for a game because they have blue light, Molson, and Coors Light pitchers during all games, plus half off medium one-topping pizzas. Dwayne, a big win for the Sabres, a 5-game point streak, 10 games out from the playoffs. Uh-oh.
I mean, let's not get too ahead of ourselves there. I mean, I think they could probably win out the rest of the season, and it would still be tough for them to make the playoffs. With that being said, man, like, how can you be at all angry with not angry, but the way they're playing under Don Granado? I said it before, this is a tryout for him. I mean, I still want this team to do their due diligence in the offseason when it comes to, acquiring a head coach. And I'm in another group chat right now, and one of the subjects right now is that they can't hire Don Granado. You can't hire Don Granado. That the team will always play well under a new head coach in the beginning, like they always go in a little bit. But this isn't just that. The team is just playing like stronger in all three areas of the game, and defensively, in the neutral zone, and the offensive zone. Their transition game is 1,000 times better. They are creating chances off the rush. It wasn't that prevalent today up until the third period, but it's pretty obvious that that's what they're doing. And they didn't have Taylor Hall tonight. And regardless of the season Taylor Hall has had, the guy does create a ton of scoring chances off the rush. You just cannot bury for the life of him. He just hasn't been able to figure it out. And I tweeted earlier, like, Ralph Kruger should be tied up in Alumni Plaza and stoned for the way this season has gone, because this team is night and day offensively compared to what we're used to seeing over the last few months.
No, absolutely. The team's been playing much better these past couple of games. 5 games in a row with a point, 2 consecutive wins, Conzi. Where's your optimism level with Don Granado? Because it seems like the attention to detail is really paying off.
Well, I think we talked about it in pregame with, with Don Granado and the way that he handles things. And just we talked about Dahlin and how Dahlin's obsessed with Granado's attention to detail. And I think you see it in his game. That goal that he scored tonight is the best Dahlin goal I've seen in a Sabres uniform. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it just looks like he's playing with a lot more confidence. He's playing with a lot more tenacity, a lot more vision on the ice. And all these players really have a little bit of a pep in their step. And Rasmus Asplund, I mean, what a pleasant surprise. I'll be honest, I wasn't really too high on Asplund until this season when he started to kind of take shape here. But the one guy that I've been impressed with during this whole streak here is Casey Middlestat. I mean, look, he's not the high draft pick that the Sabres had, intentions of, a guy who couldn't even do a pull-up. But, I mean, he had a goal tonight. He's becoming a dependable forward for the Sabres. And, if he stays, he stays. If he doesn't, you flip him. Who knows what you'd flip him for? It might be stupid for me to say that, but very happy with the way that the system's set up. Now, that leads me to the next point that Dwayne brought up. You have to do your due diligence, though, because the one sad thing, the thing in my gut that I feel bad about Don Granado for, with here is I feel like Don Granado would be the perfect coach for the Rochester Americans. I really do wholeheartedly feel like the Americans have, a good coach in place right now and a good thing going, but I think Granado would be perfect for those guys down there, and I think the Sabres need to make something happen to try to retain this guy on staff because they've made massive improvements and it feels like he's communicating well with the players.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a big thing that a lot of, the reporters and the players themselves have even talked about, and Don, is that, getting these one-on-one sessions and being more diligent in their video work is a big thing. I think if you pay attention on these bench shots, you're seeing these guys go right over to the bench and they're looking at the iPads. They're seeing, what they've done wrong, and they're making corrections in real time. And I think you're seeing that really pay off. Like, you can't just say, hey, you're a professional, go out there and play. This is the system. And if the system's not working and like the guys are having issues, you can't just be like, hey, you'll figure it out. You have to do things and you have to pull some strings. And it seems like Don Granado is pulling the right strings right now. And looking at the development of Rasmus Dahlin and Casey Middlestat, especially, it's night and day seeing them play right now as opposed to the beginning of the season. These guys lacked confidence. They didn't know where they were supposed to be. They didn't know where their teammates were supposed to be. But right now, both of them have been driving play. You have Casey Middlestat, who's been, got a great assist on the sauce to Asplund, and then he's parked right there in front of the net on that Dahlin pass, gets it in on the power play. That's a phenomenal play that, a smaller guy, we worried about him not doing the pull-ups, but he's right there in front of the net, Dwayne, doing the hard work that, people didn't expect out of him, but we're getting that under Granado.
Absolutely. Again, it's just so night and day, the effort level. And I thought it was so concerning last week when we heard, Granado said it without really getting into too much detail about the fact that video during and between games and practice wasn't very prevalent with this team. Going back, watching video, finding out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, how to correct it, because that is so crucial at this level to be successful consistently. And I thought that was extremely concerning. And now you're seeing those things being done off the ice, and it's paying off on the ice.
No, absolutely. You have to put in that extra work because it's not the same old NHL anymore. These guys are all so skilled. And when you look at teams, especially like the Islanders, they're going to pin you in, and they dominated this team, and they couldn't figure anything out over 8 games at this point that they've played, 7 or 8. I don't know if they played all of them, but it's just, you have to figure things out, and you have to pay attention to every little detail, because in the long run, those are the things that hurt you. And Kanzi, right now, the Sabres, they gave up a few goals today, but it wasn't that same, mentality. We get down or we give one up. They're coming right back at them.
Yeah, they're coming at you. They're going to punch you in the mouth, and they're going to play. Honestly, it's organized pickup backyard hockey to me. It was like backyard pond hockey. And to H-Man 340's point, like to see how Eichel would play under Granado. Did you see how much space the Sabres have on the ice? Do you know how much space Eichel creates? Eichel in this system, this isn't me selling why we should hire Granado. It's just, I think when Eichel has space, he's a lethal player. I think any player is lethal that can play in the NHL with space. But, let's now refer to Granado as Batman, because that's a good one, Mike. But I think Eichel playing under Granado would be a great thing. Dahlin's hitting those breakout passes. Could you imagine Dahlin hitting freaking Eichel right at the red line with a pass like that? You're talking breakaways. You're talking more confidence. This team would play with much more confidence. So, I seriously think that this team has a screw you mentality. We don't care. We're down a goal. We're coming back. But I think it's not. They say work smarter, not harder. I think this system allows the Sabres to work smarter and harder, but not not tire themselves out is what I'm trying to get out of my stupid mouth. Try not tire themselves out while trying to climb back into games. So, to that point, man, I hope we get to see Eichel play 1 or 2 games in this system, but I just don't see it right now.
I think I have a good feeling Eichel's going to be back for a little bit, because I think him seeing the way the team's been playing without him, at least these last few games, where there's that spark. There's some of these guys, these young players who are taking that step forward. Sure. And if Jack is committed to the city the way that I believe he is, I think we're going to see him out there again at some point. And I think he can just be absolutely dominant out there in this system, Dwayne.
I agree. And, this is the first taste we've gotten of a team of what we would see without Taylor Hall. And I liked it a lot. And I'm not saying Taylor Hall makes us the worst team, because I think if you put Taylor Hall really on any hockey team, they're a better team for it. The guy is a former MVP. I just don't think that – I think he's snake bitten from the system he played with under Ralph Kruger, and he hasn't been able to, get away from that. But again, he creates his own chances. He drives play, and he gets scoring chances. It just hasn't gone in the net for him. Now, obviously he was scratched tonight, obviously, in anticipation for a trade that's going to be coming maybe even late tonight. Who knows? Maybe we wake up tomorrow and there's a Taylor Hall trade. But with that being said, this is the first really look we got at the team without Taylor Hall and how they're playing, and you add Jack Eichel to that mix, what Don Granado has been able to get out of guys like Casey Middlestat, even Tage Thompson, making the most out of these players, I would be thrilled. I am very much looking forward to seeing if Jack Eichel can make a return this season, because I want to see how this team performs even at a higher level with Jack in the lineup, because I mean, regardless of your opinions of Jack Eichel, the narrative that he's not a leader, he's this, he's that. The guy scored 18 points in 21 games with a fractured rib and a bum ankle. He's been hurt all season. The guy went out there and still grinded as hard as he could, and it was blatantly obvious. Anybody who's ever played hockey in their life or watched long enough can tell when a player is hampered by an injury. And you could tell it, for me, the most you could see it most from when we were on the power play and he was in his spot and he just did not have the same power on his shot. And we know he dealt with a core injury last season, the whole rib thing, like everything. All your power derives from your core, especially when you're shooting. And if you can't, shift your weight to take that shot, like you're not going to be accurate. The power's not going to be there.
Yeah, like people complaining about him not taking shots like on breakaways and things like that when he kind of had opportunities. Well, he might not have been able to get the whip into it the way that he wanted to, and that's exactly it. Like you think about a broken rib, like it just hurts to breathe. Ponzi, like it's not something.
Bruised rib. It is a bruised rib. They know how much that.
But Dwayne, let's put because I want to ask this question to Dwayne. Dwayne, as a former goaltender, when you have a team like as a goaltender, when your opposing team is down 1 goal and they're constantly coming at you with shots and peppering you, how tired do you get?
Like, God! Even in men's league, it gets tiring. Like right. You got to remember, when you're pinned in your own end as a goaltender, regardless of the players in front of you, you as a goaltender are probably moving the most on the ice. You're going side to side, coming out, cutting on the back into your net, side to side, and especially with the style of play now, where a lot of your play on your post is done from down on your knees, like you're up, down, like it is so like tiring at times.
Exactly. And sorry to interrupt you there, but imagine you have this team that does that to a goaltender, which they've been doing, but then you have Jack Eichel to clean up shop. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's been going up, down, left, right for the first 5 minutes of the period. You send Eichel out there to just get coast and snap one home. Like, that you bring up a very good point. That's the problem with this team this year is they've faced rookie goaltenders and made them look like superstars. What's his name? Vita Vanacek?
Vita Vanacek, yep.
Vanacek from Washington. Could you imagine if they got him up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west, and then they had, like, Hall and Eichel just speeding down the ice, just firing these pucks in the net? Like, that's what we're talking about when we say aggressive systems that tire the teams out to a pulp. And this is what this Granado system does. Whether he's the guy next year or not, they need to hire a coach that plays balls to the wall, pedal to the metal type hockey, and they're in great shape. And I think we saw a taste of that with Bilesma as coach. We need a coach that can do that to a higher level and also communicate with his players. And hopefully we find that in the offseason, because I'll tell you what, man, somebody just put here in the comment section, we got to flash that. Montour is playing like the Montour we traded for, because they play a fast style offense. It's real simple fundamental system that Granado runs.
I think I said that earlier to you guys off air. And say Montour is playing like the defenseman we expected to get when we traded for him. We traded a first-round pick for him. Like, I don't want to trade this guy now. But, I mean, regardless, you have to. You hope maybe that he'd want to come back again in free agency, and maybe he sees things that are going in the right direction. Yeah, I can't stress this enough, guys. You have an opportunity here in the next in this next free agency period where $10 million can go a long way in the short term to fix the issues on your hockey team. You saw Florida do it. They got Verhaeghe for 2 years at $2 million. Look at what he's doing. Anthony Duclair.
He's leading the team in scoring, Verhaeghe.
They fixed issues on their team.
Can skate.
Yeah. You can still do that. It's going to be essentially the same market. Go out, utilize your money wisely. Don't overpay guys like Cody Eakin and Zemgus Girgensons like you did this past. Learn from your mistakes. Try and get Kyle Okposo off your books.
Skill guys on the bottom.
Yeah, and fill out those bottom 6 players, those bottom 6 holes, those role players, and bring in a couple top 6 guys on a clean, nice, like a Taylor Hall deal, but not a Taylor Hall deal. You don't need to. They didn't need to go sign Taylor Hall in this last offseason. Let's be real.
What if he comes back? What if he comes back?
At the right price, sure. At this point, like I wouldn't pay him more than $5 million a year, 5.5 at most. But it's you could spread out that $8 million you spent on Taylor Hall, and you could literally bring in maybe 1 or even 2 top 6 guys to fill those holes that have you've been those players that you've been lacking all season. I don't think Victor Olofsson is a top line player. As much as I love that shot of his, I think I need him in a bottom 6 role with the right type of centerman, and that's where you provide your scoring depth. Put players like him in a role where he's playing 15 minutes a night with a reliable center, and you're not expecting him to produce so much at even strength because he's not doing that. Have him be that guy who comes in on your power play. 1 out of every 4 power play opportunities he scores a goal. Sure. That's what I can get out of Victor Olofsson as my number 1 power play unit, but then put him in your bottom 6. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that you can still do with this roster, and I can't stress it enough. When you're trying to rebuild a hockey team or build a hockey team, the top 2 positions you need to draft first or to acquire first are a franchise center and a franchise defenseman. You have them both right now, and they're still very young. So why on earth would it make sense to trade those pieces away?
No, absolutely it doesn't. We got UB Bull 86. Why in the world would Hall come back? I don't know. Ask the reporters that keep reporting it.
Yeah, he has said in interviews that he'd be open to a comeback. I'm not saying he's going to come back. What I was basically saying was like we truly don't know what's going on with Taylor Hall. Absolutely. We really don't.
But we're hearing he's at least interested in it. That's why we're saying it. Like we're not speculating. But just to wrap this up here, there's one quote here from Rasmus Dahlin in the post game that I think just pretty much echoes all of our sentiments. He said, "It's such a great feeling winning. Guys are smiling on the bench. Everyone has confidence. Everyone wants to play with the puck now." And that's exactly what you have to do. You have to instill confidence in your young players, and you love to see it. Hopefully they can continue to take a step forward under Don Granado. A great performance tonight in the 5-3 win over New Jersey. Make sure you guys get out to Amherst Ale House for the next Sabres game. Half off Labatt Blue, Blue Light, Molson, and Coors Light pitchers during all Sabres games until they win the Stanley Cup, plus half off medium 1 topping pizzas. Absolute phenomenal deal there. Make sure you follow at Crossswords Pod, at 2 Goalies 1 Mike for more throughout this season. And that's going to wrap it up for us, for Dwayne, Konzi, myself, Ty B. Let's go Buffalo.